Cam's list is Hero's Downfall. I'm not sure if it's in the other list. James Hames actually playing the more Saito-ish version of Blue Eye Control. That's just a light splash of black off of the Scrylands and like a couple Godless Shrines.
There's a one water.
Whereas Cam Adkins is playing the actual Esper Control with double black spells like Hero's Downfall. He has a Fated Retribution main deck, which is pretty sweet. His sideboard, he has a couple of Thought Seizes and a couple of Night Veil Specters to kind of change modes in the mirror match, which I really like. And even access to Dimir Charm, which is not great in this matchup, but it's really good in some other matchups. So
this is kind of the old school approach. We haven't seen Esper Control for, I mean, this take. This is much more similar to the Waffle Tapo take.
Right. And it looks like Cam also has a couple of Sin Collectors out of the board too, which are pretty huge in this matchup because they allow you to strip away Sphinx Revelations counter spells while also being a 2/1 body to help pressure Jace and keep your opponent from being able to tick it down regularly to draw extra cards. So.
Well, we are underway, my friends. We're going to start with Scrylands. Temple of Silence on Adkins' side, Temple of Enlightenment on Hames' side. So we'll see both players resolve a Scry. And, of course, when we're playing a control matchup like this, it's all about lands.
Yeah, I mean...
Lands.
My friend Tannen Grace, who you saw on camera earlier today, was playing Blue-Eyed Splash Black Control. And he said he played against a guy in round 1 where if he had kept his 7-land hand, he probably would have won because it was a mirror match.
Mm-hmm.
But he was fairly confident his opponent was playing some sort of aggro deck simply because he had a Dragon Ball Z playmat.
We see a Sin Collector here from Adkins. A great card in this matchup. Dissolve, Sphinx's Revelation are the cards it can take. There's also a Blood Baron Viscopa and a bunch of lands. 2 islands, a Temple of Deceit, and then a Godless Shrine.
Yeah, I think the reason he's taking Dissolve here, simply put, he probably has a Jace in hand and he wants to play Jace, draw some cards while also leaving the Sin Collector back to protect from the opposing Mutavault from James. So otherwise, I think you just always take Sphinx Revelation because the games go super long, the card's insane. It's also possible he has something to actually deal with the Sphinx Revelation later, like a Thoughtseize, another Sin Collector, or it looks like he has a Dissolve in his hand too. So.
Fated Retribution, the draw there for Adkins. Going to start by attacking for 2 with Sin Collector. Going to put Hames down to 18, and there is another copy of Temple of Deceit. And Adkins will pass the turn back over to Hames.
Yeah, it looks like Cam does have a Hero's Downfall in hand too, so if James were to top deck a Jace Architect of Thought and tick up, he would get literally no value out of other than shrinking the Sin Collector by 1. So
Thoughtseize the draw here for Adkins. He's going to start by attacking for 2 yet again. Going to put Hames down to 16. And we'll see if he wants to use Thoughtseize now or later. And the answer is now.
I don't feel like this was the strongest play. However, it ended up working out for him because now he's able to take the Syncopate. Whereas if he had just played Jace the turn before, his opponent would have syncopated it. He would have had this huge tempo black hole, giving his opponent a window to resolve something to punish him for it, or just to resolve the Blood Baron, assuming he doesn't have much of an answer to it. But I think he tapped incorrectly with his Temple of Deceit instead of his Temple of Silence, and now he can't cast Dissolve. Whereas if he had flip-flopped that, he could cast both Dissolve and Hero's Downfall, depending on what his opponent did.
Yeah, this is some bad news here because he's got Hero's Downfall, but obviously doesn't take care of Blood Baron with Scopa. So we'll see if Hames is willing to try to slam this down or not.
Yeah, I mean, it feels likely. He's gotten his counterspells taken away from him, he still has the Syncopate. The Thoughtseize hit the Sphinx Revelation, excuse me. So the Syncopate here is going to go for a long, grindy game, I think, and Cam has a Dissolve, a Sphinx Revelation, a Jace, and a Hero's Downfall. So looking in pretty good shape. He didn't get punished for the mistap, fortunately for him.
I would say that, maybe Adkins dodged a little bit there. As if he does play Godless Shrine untapped and slams down Blood Baron, obviously Adkins is in a world of trouble, but it's pretty tough to do that given you're facing a wall of mana and you're playing in a pretty slow, grindy matchup too.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the only card that James really should have been afraid of there was Syncopate.
Sure.
And but the problem is that Cam should always, even if he had neither counterspell, he should always hold up the potential to be able to play both.
Yeah.
And maybe it actually wasn't a terrible play because he put up some red flags from James where he's like, well, okay, obviously a Syncopate, otherwise he would have tapped it the other way.
Yeah, sure.
To hold up for Dissolve. So, I don't know. Maybe a little mind game going on, but more than likely probably just a minor mistake that ended up not getting punished, which is fortunate for Cam.
Jace, Architect of Thought, going to come on in here for Hames. See if this resolves. As you see, Adkins does have a Dissolve that he's flipping by. He also has that Revelation, even though it's not a big one just yet. And then he's got Hero's Downfall. So he's got plenty of answers, and he's going to use the counter spell.
Yeah, I feel like if he just lets the Jace resolve there, James is going to tick it down and use Mutavault to play defense. And if that's the case, he's going to be able to attack with the Sin Collector, then downfall the Mutavault, and still be able to, if he draws a lane, he can still play Dissolve on the Blood Baron. But here he burns the Dissolve to deal with the Jace, gets a Jace of his own, and now he can play around Syncopate. So a lot of stuff going on in this matchup. This mirror is like super long and grindy, but there's little, points of advantage you can gain by just like playing your spells in the correct order, sequencing your land drops, sequencing like your discard spells to put your opponent. Oh no, we got Jace over here. He's wearing the Jace hoodie.
Yeah, Jace is in play and on camera.
Maybe that's why he put the hoodie up when he played the Jace and we didn't see it.
That's true.
That would have been sweet.
That could have been what happened.
I wish we were watching the camera when that happened.
You see the Jace here is going to reveal a Thoughtseize, a Negate, and a Watery Grave. And there's your split, the Watery Grave with the Negate, which allows him to actually be able to cast Negate if he plays Watery Grave untapped, and then Thoughtseize by itself. But Thoughtseize is obviously very powerful in this matchup.
Yeah, and I mean James obviously knows that. That's why he separated it in that fashion, because if another Thoughtseize hits him, whatever spells he has left in his hand, then he's just battling with a Syncopate versus a stock board and less action than his opponent for sure, because his opponent 5 cards in hand. Missed a land drop last turn. So obviously now that he's hitting land drops, just gonna steamroll him. But Blood Baron could come down here uncountered. The Mutavault taking care of the Jace hopefully, but maybe holding up Syncopate. Yeah.
He says he's going to take care of the Jace with the Mutavault. So there goes the Architect of Thought. Blood Baron does resolve here for Hames. And now we got Blood Baron and Sin Collector with a bit of a standoff here. Not really, because obviously Blood Baron oftentimes wins that standoff.
Yeah.
But we'll see what Adkins can do. We know he has Watery Grave. He's got Negate in his hand. You see the Jace. You also see Fated Retribution as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of options.
I think that just slamming the Fated Retribution here is the play, because he knows that James has a Syncopate in hand, and I don't think it's very likely that either of them have left in Supreme Verdict, or at least not very many Supreme Verdicts. So, yeah, casting it here, you also get the Scry 2 out of it, which is pretty sweet.
This is a first on camera, Scrying 2 and Fated Retribution.
Well,
it never happens. Everyone obviously just casts this in an instant. So this is number 1.
Well, when you have, I mean, he even has the combo of Sphinx Revelation in hand too, right? So, I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, well, maybe not anymore, as the Sin Collector is going to show up here for Hames.
Yeesh.
You see a hand right now from Adkins. He's got Jace, Revelation, Negate, and Hero's Downfall. Obviously, quite a good hand, but Revelation was the best card there.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to be there anymore, as my assumption. But we will see what Hames opts to take.
You never know. You never know.
Okay, there goes the Mythic.
Well, there's, 2 Mythics in that hand, so that's not really a good description.
There goes the Mythic he can take.
Yeah, there's only one version of Jace that is a Mythic, and when he got reprinted, he was a Mythic, so.
Sure. Nightveil Spectre the draw here for Adkins, so.
Yeah, that's actually pretty sweet. He can play the Nightveil Spectre and pay 4 for Syncopate, which is going to give him a threat to potentially block both Mutavault and Sin Collector, while also potentially drawing some extra cards off of the triggered ability from Nightveil Spectre. So a pretty sweet card in this matchup if it survives, and it seems likely that neither player really wants to have Supreme Verdict in their deck after board, but possibly a necessity just simply due to the fact that cards like Nightveil Spectre and Blood Baron of Vizkopa are in the format. So
it looks like we're going to have a little fight over this Nightveil Spectre.
Yeah.
Dissolve is going to be countered by Negate, so Spectre's going to get in here. It looks like maybe Hames did that because he's got something that he wants to resolve.
Yeah, a potential interesting play there from, I guess no, I take it back. He didn't have enough mana to do what I wanted to do, which was Syncopate for X-1, and then Cam pays, and then can't cast Negate on backup.
Okay.
Elspeth here.
Sliding in.
Yeah, I mean, luckily Cam does have access to that Hero's Downfall to take care of it, and James just has the Syncopate left in hand as his last card.
Has Jace too. So he's actually sitting pretty okay against the counters, and Hero's Downfall is just going to take care of it by itself. And who knows what this Nightveil Spectre is going to find.
Yeah, hopefully something good.
Let's see. That's
Detention Sphere.
That's good.
That feels like a good one, simply because there are 3 cards with the same name in play that are attacking you. So
and here is D-Sphere. He's just going to take care of the Planeswalker with that. He's going to save Hero's Downfall for something a little bit better. Because, again, he does have Jace in his hand. He can't play it right now. Well, I guess he could have if he played Water Grave untapped.
He could have shocked himself, played Jace ticked up, and I think had a little bit better board position. James can only attack Jace for 2 points, and, he just goes back down to 3. of essentially invalidating the soldier tokens. But as it stands, if James just activates Mutavault and attacks and holds up a big syncopate for the Jace from Cam now, which before you would have been able to pay for it, he's definitely losing this race. I mean, that's a 2-turn clock if Cam doesn't resolve the Jace. I feel like he should definitely Hero's Downfall the Mutavault here. If he gets syncopated, that's fine. But
he chose not to. So 7 damage is going to come across for Adkins, and now we might see Nightfall Spectre on defense. And you see the syncopate right now would be for 5.
Yeah, and that's 1 more than Cam can pay.
Yeah. So we're going to see what happens here. As Adkins looks at a Jace, he looks at the Hero's Downfall. I think he may have just drawn an Aetherling. Not quite sure, but he's going to start by casting Jace. Now, yeah, I think we're going to see that big syncopate that you did mention, so here is that.
He could have very easily, assumed this was going to happen from his previous play of not casting it the turn before, and if he wasn't going to cast the turn before, he absolutely should have Hero's Downfall to Mutavault. He took 2 extra points of damage that he didn't need to. Now he's still going to be taking 5 points down to 2, even if he downfalls the Mutavault and blocks the Sin Collector. It's possible he wants to gamble a little bit and try to hit another D-Sphere or a Supreme Verdict, an Elspeth, something.
That's a big gamble, though.
Yeah,
man.
but I think if James draws a counterspell, you're just going to lose anyway. So I think it's a reasonable risk.
I think that's what Adkins is considering right now if he attacks.
I guess no. Actually, it's a pretty unreasonable risk because if he just downfalls that, holds back to block Mutavault, and he's not actually taking lethal for a while. He does get like 2 free draws out of the Nightveil Spectre, assuming he hits well. But
yeah, I think especially at this point, like if you're going to attack the Nightveil Spectre, I think that's where your turn starts. I think you start with that, and then you get your information that way. But as it stands, Nightveil Spectre is going to play some defense here. Hames is going to draw a card. We're not sure of the contents of his hand right now, but what we do know is there are 3 soldier tokens and a Mutavault out there.
Yeah, we really got to coach these guys to play with their hands in their hands instead of face down.
Oh, well, how about a main phase Revelation there?
Man, Dispel would be such a goulet.
Unfortunately, no Dispel here.
No.
From Adkins, or fortunately, depending on who you're rooting for, is we're going to see 5 cards go to the grip. Hames is going to go up to 15.
I'm rooting for the guy playing with Temple of Enlightenment.
Isn't that both of them?
Yeah.
Wow. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
The Temple of Deceit going to come into play here for Hames past the turn back. So a little bit of reprieve here for Adkins.
Really? He just drew 5 cards.
But he didn't take any damage. He didn't take any damage.
That's true.
You're looking at it all wrong. The goal of Magic is to go from 20 to 0.
Yeah, that's true. Well, now we're tapped out here from James' side, so if we hit something sweet off the top of his deck.
Did it.
Oh, got there.
Did it.
Got there. And now we're right back in the game, boys.
I think that's the definition of doing it.
Yeah. We did it.
I think you got to have a ref for 5 here, probably. I don't think you have much of a choice.
I feel like a ref for 5 is the correct play. I know that's quality color commentary from me.
That's why I brought you in.
Yeah.
That's why I brought you
Cast Sphinx Revelation for 5. If he passes turn, I might throw up a little.
He's going to go with Aetherling instead.
Okay.
So
that's actually not terrible. I'm not a huge fan because James can have something to blink the Aetherling and then battle in for 5 and put Cam to 2. And then Cam, doesn't get to resolve the Sphinx Revelation, potentially. I don't know. I like Sphinx Rev for 5, put myself to 12 with card parity from James, card parity with James, reasonably set board position with the Nightveil Spectre still in play. The Aetherling, obviously resolving it with 2 blue mana is pretty sweet, but with all the things like Azorius Charm, the spot removal spells that they both could potentially have, I don't know. I feel like you could very easily lose the race with Aetherling in this matchup if your opponent has some guys in play, which he obviously does.
He's about to have some more because Elspeth has shown up to the party, and that's going to resolve. That's going to take on up. So here comes 3 more soldier tokens. There are going to be 6 total that are going to come out here in just a moment. Between that and the Mutavault, things are getting a little bit more difficult here for Adkins.
There we go. We got some Kristen Pluskow art.
There's some nice soldier tokens.
Yeah.
So let's see what else Hames has. We know Hames has a Detention Sphere. He also has a Jace in his hand as well. Looks like he might go Sphering, and he says, all right, I want to get this Nightveil Spectre out of here, which means that Sphinx Revelation is never going to actually be able to be cast now.
Yeah, and Cam's at 7. He can block Mutavault and just take 6 next turn. So there's the potential that the 2 swings from Aetherling could actually just win the game here. The thing he has to be afraid of actually is a tick down of Elspeth to destroy Etherling, but if he doesn't know the trick of shrink Etherling's power by 1 so that it doesn't die, as opposed to having to blink it out, you know?
Sure. What he's going to do is he's going to make it unblockable, pump it for 1, attack for 5, take care of Elspeth.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a terrible play, but the problem is he doesn't actually have an answer to those tokens in play. He can play Brimaz and Night Spectre here, but that's going to leave his Etherling completely open to any sort of removal spell. However, it's safe to assume that if James does have some removal spells, he's going to be targeting the creatures that can block this turn, more than likely.
Yeah. We'll see exactly what Adkins is going to do this turn, because he tapped all of his mana, and now he's kind of going back, and I guess Hames is okay with him doing that, so just passing the turn.
I mean, if he was going to do that, he definitely should have blinked Etherling as well to have an extra guy on defense.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because now he's going to be, if there's any removal spell for Brimaz, he's just going to battle in for 8 damage, and that's going to be all she wrote. So
there's your D-Sphere.
Yep.
That's the removal spell that you speak of, so it's Sphere versus, and he's going to put the lens on the bottom. I thought he was going to take him, yeah, and he's going to say that, and activate the Mutavault, and attack with everybody.
Yep, and that Etherling looking real unhappy, turned sideways.
Yep. So. James Hames going to win this match 2-1 over Cam Adkins. Esper Control Mirror goes to the player on the left. Congratulations to James. He moves on to 8-1, and with any luck, able to draw to the top 8.